We first learned that board influence is the key to win, then we learned about knowing the map, followed by managing resources. Now we need to know who we're playing with, along with being able to play to our win conditions. I said in a previous part that I'm assuming all players are humans. Why? Simply put, AI behavior is linear and oftentimes exploitable and predictable. Everyone's turn can matter in Mario Party, and games fundamentally end up being very different with CPUs than they are with 4 humans. The biggest difference being that real humans can play ahead. I'm also going to assume that for Mario Party 6 and 7, the games are 20 to 25 turns, as it gives a reasonable sense of urgency to work toward bonus stars, and is manageable to recall what is going on across the game without feeling overwhelming, but not feel too short to where the game feels mostly uneventful. To define a win condition, or a win con for short, a win condition is what has to be fulfilled in order to win. A player can have multiple win cons depending on their skill sets and the current state of the game. There are many examples of win cons for Mario Party, and typically they involve bonus stars in some way, which is the most reliable win con. However, dueling for stars is also a reliable win con for someone who is confident in their abilities. Sometimes your win con is very specific and can involve trying to prevent another player's win con, such as griefing them to prevent them from having enough resources or preventing them from bypassing your lead in coins. Positioning can also be a big factor for win conditions as well, due to certain events that can swap player positions or the fact that you can duel for landing on the same space in Mario Party 6. It could even be going for specific items to either boost ahead and reach the star, or using traps effectively to prevent resources, or a combination of both. Knowing the players means knowing what skill sets they have in minigames, including board events, where or how they manage their resources, along with being aware of their win conditions. I also think it's important to know, what are the other players aware of? Do they know the map well and know how to effectively use items? Knowing the skill sets is obviously very helpful to know which kinds of minigames someone is more likely to win at. It's especially important for duels since stars can be wagered, and a player better at duels simply has a more reliable win con. But also consider, are they the person willing to grief you and prevent you from winning a minigame, either a team one or a free for all one, if it benefits them? Knowing how they manage their resources can also tell a lot about their skill sets. Do they use their orbs to actually try and influence the game in logical ways? Being aware of what their win con is helps as well. Taking a look at their current resources and seeing where they are on the map can give an idea of what they're playing for. A good rule I typically follow myself is, when in doubt, go for items for better influence and set up for good positions when possible. Remember that everyone's turn can matter, and it's important to look ahead to what actually benefits you more in the long run. Letting things play out might actually help you out more than preventing them from getting a star, because they might not actually have their win con ready. The biggest threat isn't necessarily always the player currently in the lead or closest to your lead, it's the person most likely to reach their win conditions. Having the awareness of my own win cons and my opponent's win cons is what lets me go for the best play that influences the game for me. In this game of Mario Party 6's Clockwork Castle, I'm trying to keep my star lead far enough ahead of Christian's, and I'm trying to make up for it by warping around the board accordingly despite my lack of items and bonuses. Playing to our win condition gets more interesting in Mario Party 7, as 3 of the 6 bonuses are awarded at random, and so we never truly know what our win cons are. However, this allows for some interesting plays as a result, and a lot of our games have come down to who's getting 2 bonuses. We each try to pursue and contest the bonuses we can realistically attain. On this game on Windmillville, I only have a few turns left to make a move. I try to use the Koopa Kid for a position swap to get to the 2-star windmill at the left because it seemed like a decent win con in my current state. However, this actually backfires on me due to the fact that it's an orb shuffle and my sluggish room goes to Ryan. Both Ryan and I are aware of how valuable a happening is on this map due to the fact that they're super rare with only 2 happenings. He ends up securing Happening Star as a result, and this ultimately secures him the win. It's also worth noting that sometimes your win con means completely avoiding something altogether, which is a lose condition. In this game of Treetop that I've shown this 3-star clip many times now, it's the final turn and I do have a flutter to get to the star, but the star doesn't actually do me any favors because I know what bonuses I have. However, what Flutter actually risks for me is repositioning me to hit the miracle and swap away my win. I actually choose not to flutter as a result, and this guarantees my win con, as I know I have minigame and orb star on top of a convincing lead. Another example is here on Pagoda Peak, where I know I have the most to lose off a duel in my current position, so I actually try to avoid the risk of dueling altogether by using a gold mushroom, in order to avoid my lose condition. From here on, I hope this series of optimizing board influence, resources, player knowledge, and win conditions for Mario Party was enlightening about the many layers of a beloved childhood game of mine. Don't ever count out anyone's influence in this wild game from a rough start, but more importantly, don't ever count out your own influence and go make your impact one way or another.